a naked and afraid castaway.
This is going to be something that I haven't dealt with before. At least in Africa, I had a map.
My previous Naked and Afraid challenge was in South Africa.
Hi, guys.
On the Limpopo River. As far as my survival skills, I think my biggest strengths as a survivalist is, well, being a single mother is actually a strength because it's a do or die situation. You can't look at them and say, oh, you don't have dinner. You have to get it done. I'm extremely determined. There's a lot of grit there.
I need to get some food on the table for us. Wake up, baby. Yeah, thank you. Keep the home bonfires burning.
I know my sense of humor is something that I bring to the table. It's just the way that I work.
I'm going down like a fat man on a seesaw. Going down faster than Kanye's presidential bid.
Whenever I'm nervous or anything, I always deflect and use humor.
Just saying.
The reason I took on the Castaway Challenge is
I know I'm walking into hell right now.
because it's a way to set yourself apart from other challenges. This time I knew I was facing imminent danger.
The snake?
I had no tools.
We're gonna have to do something.
A lot of personalities I had to contend with.
I know what that kind of catty comment was, and I'm gonna address it now.
I wanted to take on the ultimate challenge.
I just want to get off of this island. All right, let's go. We are so...
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we got Heather Smith in the building. What's going on?
Woo.
Catch a Vibe Radio. You already know we always bring the exclusives. This one right here is one hell of an exclusive.
Watching that, it brings back memories. It's almost like a PTSD flashback, seeing everything you go through,
So I, for one, I remember hearing the title Naked and Afraid before, and I didn't pay no mind to what Discovery was doing, what the show was. And then someone told me about it, and I'm like, nah. And then recently, someone was like, no, you have to watch this. This is crazy. So I watched it, and I'm like, what in the absolute hell is, why would these people, I don't understand. And then I got this opportunity. So I got questions. I know you got these answers. What got you to do this in the first place?
Obviously, I'd have to be insane. I think there's a level of insanity there, right? But I work in the outdoors, and I fish tournaments, and I'm constantly leveling up. And I was actually doing survival training for something else that I had been asked to do. And while I got certified in survival and advanced survival, and my littles were with me. I bring my kids with me everywhere. I call them my little apocalypse partners, because if something goes down, they got to know what to do, So somebody commented on my social media and was like, you should do Naked and Afraid. And I just looked at it and I smiled, and I was like, and I have friends that have done it. So I was like, I should. And so that's exactly what happened there.
How do you even get involved with being on the cast for that?
So there, you reach out Metal Flowers Media, like rock and roll, heavy metal. So metalflowersmedia.com does the casting for Naked and Afraid. You can go on and pick the show Naked and Afraid. You submit your application to wanting to be on there. You need to put some videos of you. It'll explain everything of what you need to do. But I highly suggest for anybody that wants to go on there, no matter how trained you feel like you are, you're not trained enough. Okay, I'm going to tell you that. 100%. And I don't care if you're like the Boy Scout from, Captain America, right? Like, you're not trained enough. This is 100% primitive survival. You have no clothes on. In my very first challenge, very first day, the ground was 138 degrees. I burned my foot off, completely ruined the bottom of my foot on the very first day in insertion. So, train a lot. Do what it says on the application. Make sure that your social media looks good. Don't put anything political. Don't put anything. Your professionalism. And maintain a professional demeanor, and you have an opportunity.
Man, that is
potentially
awesome. That is awesome. So of course I did my due diligence, and I went through the Instagram, and you definitely have a sense of adventure. The entire page is just on the boat, fishing, alligators, deer. It's like you already have a sense of outdoors. So the first part of this question is, how long have you been, being outdoors and fishing and being involved in all of this?
My father was a captain, actually, but In 2018, my family passed. Like I had already lost my dad years before, but 2018, I lost my grandparents, my mom, and so my world completely changed. I went from living in Houston and owning a bar down in on the waterfront, and to moving up to here to Sam Rayburn, which is I went from the fourth largest city in the country to a town of 223.
Wow.
And it was kind of like Goose when you hit the brakes, it flies right by you.
Yeah.
And this is one of the number one bass fishing lakes in the country. MLF, constantly all the pros do the tournaments here. And my mom wanted her ashes spread on a Rayburn, so I picked up a fishing rod to go out and visit my mom. And soon it became more about fishing and less about visiting mom.
Yeah.
So it completely evolved organically. I also learned out here that there's no handyman to call. Like I was fixing turnaround, or zero turn lawnmowers by myself via YouTube. So you become very self-sustaining when you live out in rural parts, and you got issues with snakes, you're handling it. I'm a single mother, so there was a lot of things out in the country that you're not used to,
Yeah.
and I decided to embrace this life, adapt and overcome, and embrace it for what it is. I realized this kind of life was a great life for my children, and so every challenge, everything in the outdoors, I just decided to go full force for it.
Man, that is so dope. Just
Yeah,
I love all of that, and big kudos for being so amazing. Just looking through the IG, I see how amazing you are at fishing. Obviously, you catch everything. I think I caught a boot before. I caught I don't think I ever caught a fish. I always caught like just items that were in there. So my fishing record is horrible. But the
yeah,
second part of that question is doing all of that when you went into the Naked and Afraid. Did you think that like I knew you it was going to be you were going to be prepared for it to be hard, but did you think it was going to be that hard?
yeah. No, I can honestly tell you the first thought that went through my head, truly, not even I may have actually vocally said it, was I immediately regret this decision. Like so
Yeah.
it was I knew it. We have what they call one of the most brutal insertions in the history of the show. Like it was truly that hot, and um, I knew it was going to be difficult. But our insertion was literally like an express elevator to hell. I felt like
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been to one of those roller coaster rides. When they bring you to the top and then the siren
Yeah.
goes and then it just drops. That's
Yeah.
exactly how I felt the moment of insertion.
Wow.
And the reality hits you, your nerves are bundled up. And the only thing I kept thinking to myself is, I'm an outdoorsman. I work in the outdoors. If I tap, this is over for me. It's not just I go back to my job in accounting.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So there was and the very last thing, my children, I call them the littles, and Big Little said to me as I walked off, she just looked at me. She goes, "Hey, Mom." I said, "Yeah." She said, "Don't tap out and embarrass the family." And I was like, "No
Yep.
pressure. Okay, great." Yeah. So,
That's
so,
tough.
go ahead.
I said that's tough.
Yeah, yeah. So I couldn't let them down. I was missing birthdays and things of that for my kids. So I couldn't let them down. And they when you go on these challenges, you're not the only one making sacrifices out there. Your
Yeah.
family's making a sacrifice. So um, I was
Wow.
not going to let their sacrifice be in vain.
Yeah, that's so crazy. You never think about the the person that's on the show, the contestants' families, and the
Yeah.
sacrifices that they have to make with you being away and on that. How long did you have to be away for the filming of this?
For the first one, it was about a month, and
Oh my
for
goodness,
Castaways, pretty much the same thing.
a month of
Yeah, well, the travel. I mean, it just took me 3 days to get to South Africa. You
yeah,
know, and then you were kind of quarantined. All that stuff. All that jazz is going on.
yeah,
And then the travel. I mean, you're literally going. You're not just going to hop on a plane and be there, right? You
exactly.
gotta hop on a plane to find another plane because you look on a map where it says nowhere, you're going to the middle of it. Um, so I remember when I got out of Castaways, it really hit me because my daughter had tried out for cheerleading, and they told me I turned my phone on, it's going like ding ding ding, everything I miss. And that day I found out she'd made the cheerleading team, and they told me that in tryouts that she broke down and was crying because I wasn't there for her tryouts. So it makes you realize, like, your children also sacrifice not having mom or dad there.
Yeah. Yeah. What team just a side note for the cheerleading, could you remember what team it is that she's on?
Yeah, it's her schools.
As a schools team.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
another thing that I do with all of the hats that I wear is I'm one of the main producers for New Level Music, and we do so many like music for a lot of cheerleaders, and it's so crazy because the last 2 months, because I know everyone's competing now. People are like, oh, this person's cheerleading, and then I could have swore I heard your voice in the music, or I heard this person's voice. So that was crazy. So I had to ask. So I
Well,
love it.
I do a lot of stuff with Miss Louisiana, and actually, she's a former NFL Saints cheerleader. So she is the former head of the Saints, and so she actually was helping Little with all the little moves because
Yeah.
I was never a cheerleader. So she was definitely. I think that some of the other people were like, oh, we have a coach. I'm like, yeah, I brought in a Saints cheerleader. And later tonight we're gonna go gigging frogs, so like that's pretty much it.
So you did Africa, and then after Africa, there's Naked and so Africa wasn't Naked and Afraid. Are they still a part of the same?
It's the same thing. It's just two different shows. So,
Got you.
Naked and Afraid, the original one, you can bring an item, and you're with someone. And then Naked and Afraid Castaways is like a special edition, kind of like Naked and Afraid XL, which is and Naked and Afraid Last One Standing.
Got you.
It's different franchises or branches of the franchise. They're their own shows. They're their own shows.
Got you. So
Um, like a, huh?
yeah. No. So after doing it the first time, um, what possessed you to do it a second time?
Telling you right now, exorcise the demons. You know what I mean? So somebody needs Jesus. So I wanted to take it to the next level, and the Castaways presented me with the opportunity that you couldn't bring anything. It's something that had never been done before,
Yeah.
where the entire challenge was going to be where we did not bring any gear. And for somebody that actually fishes as myself, that it put me in a situation where it would be the most realistic
Yeah.
situation where you really are swimming to shore and you
Yeah.
really don't have anything. Like, if the boat's going down, I'm not grabbing a fire striker, like
Mhm.
I'm
Wow.
swimming, so and then when you get there, I think the only difference is you have your clothes on. I mean, I don't know what kind of party you're having on a boat, but most
Yeah.
of the time we have our clothes on, so that and honestly, I know you were saying, like, what is this Naked and Afraid? But it's not about objectifying anyone. The naked part, as we talked about with the foot, and we talked about there's some other things that have occurred,
Yeah.
and the bugs, you don't even realize like a pair of socks is body armor, so uh, this really strips you down to your essential vulnerability and makes you go within yourself mentally and along with physical struggles that you're having.
Man, that is powerful. That was crazy. That was going to be the next question with how dealing with that. So that's crazy that you answered that. Were there anyone in the, because I literally only watched an episode. So has there been anyone that you knew that came there that quit, had to be, they were sent home, or like, how does that work?
Oh yeah,
Like,
more people quit than make it for sure. So
yeah,
one of my castmates on we had three people leave on Castaways. I think one tapped, two were medical
yeah,
taps. Uh, Dallas Dallas left when we were in Africa, and I I didn't blame him at all. Like I've never seen anyone seizing up that bad because of the heat, and his body
yeah,
could not handle it.
yeah,
But for the majority, if it's not something like that, some people just they get out there and they realize they're like, oh, this is for the birds. You know what I mean? Like it's not
yeah,
their jam. So
exactly.
um, the number one person to tap on the show is actually a male, a male veteran, you know, and the number one person that makes it is actually a single mother.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's crazy. Just that thought alone, it just shows the strength. You can't go off of cliches, judging book by its cover, or none of that stuff when it comes to
Right.
like true survival.
Right. Well, I think I mean, I don't know how close you are with your mama, but like, you know, mamas make
Very.
it happen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So you make it happen. Like it doesn't matter if you got the flu, you know, like that question is who watches your kids when you have the flu? I mean, what do you mean who watches my kids? You know, you take care of it. You make sure they have food. You make sure they got the shoes on there, that you get the call at 10 o'clock because they forgot something and you got to get it to school, you know, and so you make it happen. Plus you have a career, you know, and you have your own life, you know, and you're trying to mold their little minds at the same time. So I think their moms are the queen of multitasking, you know,
Yes.
and the endurance, because, you know, you don't cry in front of your kids. Right. So even for whatever it is, you got to be strong. And so whereas I'm not a man and I'm not military, so I can't speak for what that is, but I can tell you that,
Yeah.
you know, they have equipment, you know, like they,
Yeah.
you know, I haven't seen a platoon of naked guys, you know, like, so
Facts.
yeah. So
That's true, man. It's something you said in the intro that I played and was like, yeah, you can't when they're like, you know, where's dinner? You can't be like, oh well, there's none tonight. It's not an option, you know. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that is true. And, you know, and I looked at it this way, like some people are okay with quitting. Like I remember they asked me out of my first show, like what was my fear, you know, like because there was the spiders and black mambas and hippos, which I had one come at me in the river. But my fear is actually failure. That's the one fear I have. It's not what surrounds me. It's me not being able to produce and keep my word. And you know, there is no honor in quitting, right? And so I was there for the honor of completing what I said I was going to do.
man, that is amazing. Before we get to the next part of the question, ladies and gentlemen, you know we have to pay these bills. Y'all know how we do, so we're gonna take a quick break. You already know we got Heather Smith, Naked and Afraid. Y'all know what time it is, so let's take this break right now. Yo, we offer a 1-month radio rotation on Catch a Vibe Radio. Your single spun in the club by DJ P Town and DJ Chuck Fresh, and also an interview on Catch a Vibe Radio with your boy Blaze Hunter Ninth Wonder. And that ain't all. Also, you're going to get radio play on Blaze It Up Radio. 6 plays a day and be added to the mainstream and independent power mix. 7 plays on Catch a Vibe. 6 plays on Blaze It Up. 2 plays in the club. You can't miss it, man. All for the amazing price of $150. Now stop playing.
I went and picked up those bottles
Oh,
as
fantastic.
potential fish traps. Yeah, that's what I brought them over.
Do you
here
want
for.
to? We can start making them now if you want to.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, let's crank them out.
All right, let me see your technique then.
All right, hold this.
Got it.
We've all been all over this island on this challenge. And I think everybody's spirits have been just brutally battered. But we're together. We're all here. We're out looking for other things to forage so we can have something and have a big feast so we can actually fill our stomachs, because no hike in this place has been easy so far. Like, it's so simple, it's ridiculous. Reverse the top, shove it down in there so when the fish comes in through the little hole, they get stuck, and then throw a stone in there so it's weighted down. Boom, boom, deploy fish trap.
What should the bait be?
There's hermit crabs everywhere. I would get a bigger one
smash
and rip it apart. Yeah, so easy.
Done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yo, that's insane. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Catch a Vibe Radio. We're here with Heather Smith. My God, like just techniques like that. How did you learn those techniques? Did those come from, you know, your background in doing this, or was this something you picked up on the show?
No, actually, that's fishermen do that all the time. You know, that's something that you see all the time is little fish trips like that. So, you know, because when you're doing primitive survival training, you know, you don't think you're going to have a plastic bottle. We did not know that we were going to be able to use trash. Like I now call myself a trash panda. You know, after that show. You know, so but and I make clothes too, right? I was like just making a fashion statement, but that's something that I had already known going in, and it was a very, very much a blessing to be able to use the trash that we had out there, and that was a huge win. We ended up making those fish traps, and then we had found a beer can, and then I went and grabbed some salt water and then boiled it down, and actually reduced it all the way to sea salt, and then combined the sea salt with the little fish that we had instead of bait, and I made like a fish soup for everybody. So we would have a lot of sodium in it and have electrolytes back in our bodies.
That is amazing. So the first time was in Africa. Where was the second one?
Yeah.
Where was the second one at?
It was on a remote. The Castaways was on an island out in the Pacific Ocean. So it was a remote island out in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah. Man, that is wild. And I know you were saying it was a month. You were away for a month. And how long was it from like first get on the island until it's time to leave? How long was that? Also a month?
No. I don't count all of that. Like what I count is when I leave and when I come home, like, so, we have our schedule, like you get there, you get in and then I mean, everything happens very quickly, you're not really hanging around and you're not wanting to hang around, after I got out of there, it's not a bad thing. I actually love production. The production Renegade 83 puts on Naked and Afraid, and I have nothing but amazing things to say about Renegade 83. But it was, I wanted to see my kids. Like, I really wanted to see my kids. I had a lump in my throat on the way home. Like, couldn't wait to see them, boo-hooing the minute I saw them, like scratching your backside to get home.
Yeah. Wow. Did knowing that I'm gonna get out, like that is not a permanent situation, that this is a show is like a challenge. So did knowing you were going to be home and it'd be over eventually help in any of that, or while you're in it, it's not even a thought process?
Yeah, no, you definitely, I went in with a thought process that I had an objective. I had one objective, and that was to make it to a certain date. And come or hell or high water, I was going to complete that objective. And I just had to endure whatever I needed to endure just to get what I said that I would get done. If I accept a challenge, I say that I'm going to accept the challenge, not to try to be out there for a few days, not to be out there for a week or two and then give up. That's just not quit's not in my vocabulary. So I wanted to get out there and get it done. I knew it was going to hurt. I just didn't know how bad it was going to hurt.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I will have one last question as far as the show is concerned. What is for them to create the show, what is the main objective, and what I guess would be the reward for the people to complete it?
I mean, I think it's really just this sense of self-fulfillment, the fact that you can completely overcome the biggest challenge that you've ever faced is, yes, there is very physically grueling, and yes, there are painful situations that you run into, but the sense of accomplishment that you have after the challenge is so euphoric. It is a feeling that cannot be replicated in anything else that you do. Whenever I finished my challenge in Africa, the next morning I went in to brush my teeth and I looked in the mirror and I just started bawling. Like I literally at one point just grabbed the sink with both my hands and put down my toothbrush and was just crying, because it was such an overwhelming feeling of accomplishment. And knowing that you had taken on something that was grappling your soul basically while you're out there, and you were having to use extreme mental fortitude. It's an amazing feeling, and it's a euphoric feeling that can never be explained in words.
Man, well, congratulations, number one. Number two, just know that if we ever deal with any type of apocalypse and government shutdown and stuff, I'm coming to find you, and I'm like, yo, hey, you remember me? And yeah, I'm sticking out with you.
Come on, man. Come on, we'll make some squirrel dumplings, so that'll be cool.
So how cool has it been after the show is over and now back to social media? Has there been a big boost in the social media following, or different opportunities to do things now that the show has aired and is done?
There are definitely a lot of opportunities that have presented themselves, and there's definitely a lot of opportunities. The social media, I do have. I got a little boost. I think I maybe like 10,000 more followers came out of it. But I I I have seen everybody else views me different. I think that's a little bit of a something that I didn't expect. I think the acknowledgement from my peers in the industry, even with some of the ones that I thought would be like, Sparta, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
these tough
Yeah.
warriors that are like, I couldn't do it, like
Yeah.
kudos. So the respect level from my peers has definitely went up through the roof. The opportunities I have, it also made me another thing that these challenges do. It makes you realize, and I'm very much love where I live, but it makes me realize compared to the world, how fortunate we really are,
Yeah.
So, 7 million people go a year without even having access to drinkable water, and we complain about what really seems in the whole scope of things so minor,
Yeah.
compared to the big picture. And it really was a catalyst for me to start doing a lot more of my charity work. It also, like this year is the first year I stepped down from doing, I'm not going to be doing team bass anymore,
Yeah.
tournaments. I'm just going to focus on saltwater because I really want to focus on more time with my kids. And so, they have lots of sports that they're involved in, and it makes you truly appreciate your family,
Yeah.
what we're grateful. I have a roof over my head. I have shoes on, I've got groceries. I have ice in my drink, which is epic.
Come
I have a pillow. You're so much more humble and grateful, I think, coming out of the challenge. And I think that's really what hit me the most.
Man, that is amazing. I love that you call them little and big little when you're talking about the
Yeah.
kids. That's dope.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's my littles. Yeah. Actually, the song by YG.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so that's where I got it from, that beat from that song. So I was like, my littles, right?
Uh,
And that's actually where it came from when they were small. And so it was cute. They would sing that with that beat to that song. So
amazing. Man,
yeah.
it has been such a pleasure. Thank you so, so much. I will end it off with two things. First, will you ever do another challenge again? And two, is there anything that you want to leave people off with, a message that you would want to leave to everyone that will watch this?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that too. Thank you, for having me on here. It's been an honor to sit down with you. As far as a challenge in the future, I never know what my future holds.
Yeah.
So I'm never gonna. You never know with me. Um, as far as what I would have to say to people, I want to remind everyone that no matter what you're going through or what challenges that you're facing in life, there's always going to be a tunnel at the end. And, that's why I did this challenge, is to prove that you can overcome anything. And it doesn't matter if you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth or, you came on from really hard times. You truly can do anything that you set your mind to. Yeah. Your mind, it's literally mental consistency, dedication, and don't give up, and you will achieve it.
Man, that is so amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, Heather Smith, follow her on IG at Heather Smith Outdoors. Thank you so much. And y'all make sure y'all check out Naked and Afraid. I'm about to go check them out, and me and my girl gonna watch these because this is it's insane. I need to see what y'all go through. And yeah, man.
And feel free to message me and be like, "Is that?" I'll hit you back. I'll be like, "Yeah,
Oh,
nope, that really happened." Yeah, so
definitely
so
will. Definitely
yeah,
will. You
yeah.
have a good one, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Have a great afternoon.